it's also got the flame. Michigan Bros grows folks. Just wanna grow something to smoke. Michigan Bros Grow Show. Michigan Bros Grow Show. Michigan Bros Grow Show. Michigan Bros Grow Show.
Welcome to the Bro Show Live, everybody. What is going on? It is Sunday night. I'm here. You're here. We're here together. Let's get high.
Welcome to the show.
Cheers, everybody. You know, I just realized something.
Fanfare.
I'll just get this over with right out of the rip. Cheers, everybody. It's Sunday. It is January 2023. Last Sunday was the first of the year and our first show of the year. We get 5 Bro Show lives in January this year.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
right.
5 Sundays. Cheers, everybody.
Sunday.
Let me go
Sunday.
Stoked.
Sunday at the Pontiac Silverdome. Come see Craved.
You missed my joke, Skilbo. I did it 5 times instead of 3 times.
I know, man. I was just trying to vamp with
Terrible.
You, man. Just my thing. I know.
Unbelievable.
You got it.
Well, cheers, chat. I hope your plants look as good as ours. If you need any help, please ask us some questions in chat. We'll be happy to answer your questions about your plants.
I did see one question in chat to start.
Yeah.
It was talking about, has anybody used bottomless pots on top of their no-till beds or soil?
Bottomless pots.
Yes. Meaning put them on top of the...
So I've put a fabric pot on the earth.
On the ground? Yeah, I've done that.
Grow through.
And that's a similar thing. And yes, that works.
That works very well, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes too well, right? When you try to pick that back up.
I've also seen that done with like solo cups. If you're a new grower and you're concerned about transplanting, I've seen people cut the bottom of the cup off and just throw it in the ground kind of deal. It will stunt the progress of your plant, though, doing that. Your roots do like to grow horizontally along the surface of the soil quite a bit.
Well, that was a quick question, right?
I've done a lot of transplanting, both cannabis and many species of vegetables, other plants, trees, conifers, whatever, all kinds of transplants. You can get shocked sometimes. I've found that there's some pretty heavy environmental factors that you can easily avoid to kind of salvage that shock. One of them is just making sure that your plants are watered properly. your root zone has proper water retention, and that first and foremost, you don't want bound roots, right? You want to make sure you're transplanting before they bind, but you want enough root matter that they're going to at least hold your mass together a little bit.
Yeah, your media.
Yeah, and if you can, and even if it's not held together with root, is if you can properly moisten it enough so that it doesn't start breaking apart. If you start losing chunks of media out of your root ball thing, you might lose root with it. And sometimes a good root pruning is not a bad thing. It's a small stress, but if you get that tap root or you break your stem or something, and you might have irreparable. I'm sure it's repairable, but you could have, open to
Could stun it a little, or you could see like
or fusarium, or you're open to all kinds of stuff. But I'd say more often than not, transplant shock is a very easy thing to avoid, assuming that you just, you carefully pull it out, you put it in the hole without bending, breaking your stalk, your stem, where it meets the soil. I think that's usually a part that's noticeable. And sometimes if you're having issues dampening off or something, that thing just breaks over. You're not going to be able to avoid that anyways. That is something sometimes it's good to actually go through the process of a transplant so that that plant is healthy enough to make that move. If it dampened off and you had never have known that, and now you're just growing a weak plant, next thing you know, week 5, fucker teeters over on you and you wasted that space.
Well, the problem is when you're doing a perpetual grow like that, you're kind of really on a schedule. And, if you have something stall out for 2 or 3 weeks before it gets going again, you're dealing with a lot of plants, especially in like a caregiver situation. You have to be like, well, fuck this plant. I'm not going to run this one right now. I may push it off to the side and let it run through its bullshit and push something else in. But if you're a small, sole proprietorship, sometimes you don't have that option.
I think another thing too, I agree with what Red's saying. It's good to be able to look at your roots, just get a good look at them. But it's also, you lose height because those bottomless pot methods are you usually cut the bottom of the pot off so the roots can go through the bottom. And you just set it on your bed. So if you're in a height restricted area, you're losing the height of that pot. Whereas normally you're taking that root ball and burying it into your no-till bed. Now it's sitting on top of your no-till bed. Some pots, depending on what kind of pot you're in, you could be losing a foot.
I would also
They can dry out quicker too, sometimes. The top
and
part
you're
and the bottom part.
still going to experience some sort of a root binding up and up closer to, that throat section of that trunk, maybe the feeder root section, you're going to experience some plant binding. And if the plant's going to stress from binding, it might still stress from that binding, even though you have a nice, well, you never know with the media, right? If your media is compact, you might not go down. You might only go out. You might not even go that much further than the bottom of the pot.
I always like letting my shit just not hit the edge of the container, and not to go from like a solo cup to like a 7-gallon, but to try to walk my way up so that, I'm not watering dirt, I'm watering roots. You know what I mean? Because if you start throwing shit from like I said, a solo cup to a 7-gallon, and you give it that good hearty watering, all the water is down at the bottom and plants up at the top and going.
At that solo cup stage, I'm looking for a little bit of root contact on the walls of the cup and stuff. I want the media to stay together enough that you go to transplant and you're not losing half your roots and stunting all your plants. And I just got to transplant all of our plants into 1 or 2-gallon pots or whatever, and flawless victory, no problems. But part of the key to that is not overdoing it and not underdoing it. Just to time that kind of correctly. You want to have the benefit of the roots being there, but you don't also want to have just a root ball or like roots circling in the bottom of those cups and stuff. That's a negative.
Twirling.
And the plant begins to lose potential when they start to twirl.
They say that about pumpkins. Like as soon as they start to get root bound, as soon as they grow too much roots, like you're going to lose pumpkins coming from that plant like right away. So it's good to up pot them as fast as you can, get them in the ground.
Yeah, man.
There's something else I was going to say on that about kind of lost it, but I'm sure I'll They'll come back to me in just a moment.
That means the smoke is good.
Tara's showing off some roots.
There you go. Which one are we looking at, Tara?
This one is my Chem Cookies, one of them, and just kind of showing the roots. I'm getting ready to put these into 1 gallons, but they're just getting a little ring around to the bottom, and I don't want to let that happen too much further. So there's that one, and then I brought my mutant one down. Check out this crazy looking thing. I don't know if you can see it. Look at that. What the fuck is that?
I don't know. It looks like a different kind of plant altogether, doesn't it?
I don't even know what the fuck it's called. A great blue. I don't even know what this shit thing is. It's nuts.
Oh, what strain is that?
Great goo.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the goo. There you go.
One of his.
I'd be careful
What
around
it
whatever
is-
grower gave you that seed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm only letting it go a little further just to see what will even happen with it, but I don't think anything's gonna come from it. Is what I'm kind of so. I'm just
Somebody
trying to
gave
find
that
out.
one cooties.
Yeah, something.
And I know that roots are, we think of them, you know, they are the feeding, they're the very important part of the plant. There is a portion of fragility to the roots, but there's also like a resilience to the root structure as well. You know, there's root pruning is a technique in a lot of different types of horticulture. You can, you know, tear off chunks of the root, and the plant won't take that much damage. It might need a little bit to repair, but a basic out of the pot into a soil motion is very little damage. Even if you were to tuft out, you know, your roots, it's probably going to be better for your plant. It's probably going to respond faster to doing that in like combing out that root boundness. Your plant's probably going to recover faster than if it were to be bound up. I think that the dangers of transplanting, or where you actually get transplant shock, come from inadequate water when you go from one media to another. Okay, one thing that's going to happen is you're going to go from as soon as you transplant into a media that doesn't have much roots in it. Okay, it's another inert media, say cocoa or whatever, a soil, or it's going to start to pull all of the moisture from that root ball into it, so your plant's going to dry out. So that's why I'm saying you want to properly moisten. So transplant shock doesn't really come from a quick exposure to light from the roots or a quick motion with your hands or touching them. Transplant shock usually comes from a new environmental stress, right? Let's say that you transplanted in the heat of the day, 4 p.m., direct sunshine, out into, you know, the field or outside, or so you're going to get transplant shock. Best time to transplant is either early in the morning, late in the afternoon, or on a cloudy day for that matter. So if you can simulate those in your indoor grow room, you know, if you're transplanting from a veg room into a bloom room and those are different conditions, you might see a shock, different things like that. But I wouldn't say that just the motion of the roots being pulled and then moved would be the factor that's shocking the plant, other than, you know, the actual environmental stresses, if you can avoid them.
A lot of this stuff too depends on like the health of the plant before you start messing with it. Like if you got a plant that's kind of sick and weak already and you start messing with the roots and stuff, you're going to have a lot more trouble than if it's already in good shape. The same if you're taking clones and stuff. If you think about cutting a clone off of a plant, you're doing the highest version of stress training, like to that clone. So it's got to be a pretty healthy plant to, you know, be able to survive the process and get all the way, you know, you got to have the healthy start and you get a lot farther that way.
Farther and quicker. You know what I mean? Like you take it's really any step of this. Like you don't want to take clones from an unhealthy plant. You don't want to put an unhealthy plant in flower either. It's just you're like, you know, starting off with problems. It's not fun.
Again, going back to last week's show, all the mistakes that we make in veg always are reaped during flower. Unless you can somehow, some way talk to somebody smarter than you and say, yo, what's wrong with my plants, fam? Why my plant no grow for Growly?
Probably because it got root bound. I've had that issue several times, trying to just doing the whole perpetual thing and not like, not being on point necessarily with my schedule or inventory, and then scrambling to take clones or taking clones when they aren't perfectly healthy or not big enough. And you know what I mean? It's just,
You just went through this like 5 or 6 months ago, where you were starting all the new genetics and you had everything jammed into the one room, and you're like, okay,
so
I gotta
yeah,
figure all this shit out, man.
I really stress test them in like a lot of different ways, mostly intentionally. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, mostly. But that is part of it. I literally, you guys are gonna think I'm crazy. I stressed that last pheno hunt in every single way I possibly could, pretty much including forcing them to get PM. And Spartan's Cobra Milk was one of the 3, I think, strains out of that entire pheno hunt that didn't get it. It's like, guess what? You guys win. I don't have to take care of the rest of these plants now, because I overwatered the ever living crap out of them. I let the humidity get crazy high. I dropped the temps. I mean, I literally just savagely destroyed these plants because I got to the point where I'm like, well, I've been back and forth, but I haven't been gone to the point of not being able to maintain them. Like there was a one situation where they were a little dry, because I didn't have an automatic watering system in there. But the biggest stress is just cramming them all in there. They don't like it, dude.
Everybody wants a room of their own for it. Damn, this is a fun good weed to start off with. Maybe I should have saved this for hour 2 instead of hour 1, but
We got a quiet panel tonight. What's going on, guys?
I'm telling you, man, I'm reading the Hey Macarena mozzarella from Sacred Garden, and I'm entranced by it. But
I up potted all of our stuff into, I don't know what size plant containers they're in now, bigger ones, and now they're being watered with the old Jack's 321. So we'll see how they progress from here. Excited to
have
see.
you
how
done
they
any
do.
topping yet to start?
No topping yet. I haven't counted the nodes or anything. I need to start looking. They're getting a little bit taller, so it's about time to think about some of that stuff. They're under the old HLG B spec, so vegging under there, rocking and rolling. Painted Lady had a B spec, so that was really nice. So
That's the best thing to veg with, man.
yeah.
Can I tangent off that and ask you guys if you had the money to buy a veg light for inside of a tent, supplemental, maybe to cover, just a 4x4 space, let's call it. What veg LED light would you get? Because I am almost entirely LED at this point, and I just got to get rid of some T5s.
I would say that it's not a matter of the brand for me so much it is the spectrum. I run 4Ks in veg, so I don't know if it makes that big of a difference overall, but use 4K for veg and 3 for flower. You can use 3.5 and shit.
I only do lighting research when I'm buying lights, so
right, dude. I feel that. That's why I'm asking you guys, because I don't really feel like doing the research.
Grandmaster level LED. I'd get a Grandmaster level LED veg 6B.
Code Spartan Grown.
Mm-hmm.
Use code Spartan Grown, get 10% off.
You can't forget the important part, Spartan. That's both a discount and that's Spartan
right.
Grown.
We use the Fluent.
And I love it.
It's 3 bars. Razor. I think it's a Razor X R8.
Are you liking them?
I fucking love them. Yeah, they were great. They're like, God, I don't know, couple hundred watts, comparable to a 300 watt 2x4 T5 fixture, and then
Without the heat.
Dude, they're like a tenth of an amp. I think they run a 0.1 amp, 0.15 amps, or some stupid low number, dude. I'm like, Are you kidding me? I can run 10 of these and not even be running an amp. What the fuck? Some stupid number. Like maybe they're running. Yeah, no, they're like 0.15 amps or some crazy low number. I got one in back here. I could probably go look it up real fast.
Yeah, I'm with you, Barstool, in chat. If especially if you're on a budget or you're doing like a perpetual or a room where you cycle veg to flower and such, Just get a nice full spectrum light and just run that for your whole cycle. You'd be just fine.
So I will say, you know, I've got the 8 HLG 650Rs in the one room. I've got the 2 spider or the tarantulas rather, GML tarantulas in the other room, and those are kind of operating. Well, they're operating as veg lights right now, but that room goes back and forth. In my 8x8 veg tent, it's I guess 8x8x8 Gorilla veg tent. I have that one. Is it Nanolux? I don't remember the brand now, but the that one giant 8-foot, you know, like 12 bar light or whatever, which is just massive. And I was,
Nanolux.
yeah, I would like to, I think, get maybe even just 2 smaller lights that I can kind of move around or whatever, because this is something that, you know, I'm gonna have to put like clones, seedlings, like that kind of stuff under too. Whereas the other light is, honestly, it's just, I mean, I could take bars off of it, but
You don't want them cowering from the light, right?
yeah, man, it's just a
Over-scorching
massive
'em.
veg light. Yeah, and it's, I mean, it's great for growing mother plants and stuff. Let me tell you, but you know,
Have you considered putting sunglasses on your veg plants?
Well, so I tried putting
Cool
my
ones.
Method 7s actually on the
Hello.
LEDs, but I don't
Mhm.
have the LED Method 7, so it didn't really
Mhm.
work. You know, it
Yeah,
just
I'm
took
not
out
sure
the
that that's
veg
going to
light.
work, but
Yeah.
Grow some funky plants.
I'll take some pictures of the plants in the next couple days and put them on the Instagram.
I love how little fanfare you do it with. You're like, pictures of plants.
I gotta ask. You know, I'm not a big football fan by any means.
Sure.
The sequence. I see the game on there back there. Is
Yeah.
that the Rams game by chance?
No, the Rams did not beat the Seahawks, so unfortunately the Lions are eliminated from the playoffs. But
Oh, okay, that's
the
what I was-
Lions are playing against Green Bay right now, which is kind of a big game. So I got the Painted Lady got me the sweatshirt
Lions.
for Christmas. I got the Lions sweatshirt on. and
Shout out to Painted Lady.
We've been having a day of watching football over here.
Shout out to Daddy Red too. I'm sure he's got the game on while he's listening. to
Bravo's on in the other room for Mama Red.
this. Yeah, she's probably watching Bravo. Daddy Red is watching the game, probably listening to this show and probably playing Keno at the same time.
Keno,
He's a multitasker,
full
man.
tab.
Probably-
You're multitasking
Probably doing
from.
2 or 3 other things also. Same time.
And you wonder where you get it from, right, Red?
Where I get my multi.
There he is right there. Go Lions.
Go Lions.
Cheers, Daddy Red.
No, I knew I'd summon him.
That's the spirit.
I gotta give them a shout out, man. My mom and dad, they came over here and fucking like they heard the refrigerator making some noise last week, a couple weeks ago, you know, and parental fashion, they're like, you know, you got to fix that or get it fixed or get, you know, clean your fridge, look at it, you know, and then they go home. They go home to a broken refrigerator, you know, and they had to replace the
Do as I say, not as I Daddy Red do.
yeah, exactly. Well, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. So Daddy Red has this miraculous way of speaking things into existence. It's been my entire life. He would warn me to tell me not to do something. I would do it, and the repercussions would be exactly what he said they would be. My entire freaking life, dude. Get away with shit. And he'd say, don't do that. This is gonna happen. And I'd, all right, I'm gonna go do this. And then don't push the red button, push the red button through the windshield. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So unfortunately, they had to buy a new refrigerator. The fucking refrigerator, it was old enough. It was out of warranty. Blah blah blah.
What he didn't tell you, his was probably making a bunch of noise for like 6 months before.
They do keep it clean. I'm not sure their compressor went out or something. It might have been making some noise. With the good old stuff, you know, keep the fan. The van's probably got ice on it and some other things, but. He had already been watching some videos. So they came over, man. They shut the sucker off and cleaned out the whole fucking fridge. We had we have a circuit in our kitchen that's a GFCI, right? You know, where it's supposed to be at the start of the line. And then all the way through, even into this room, is that same line. So there's 5 receptacles on that one line with the GFCI.
Is that so you don't accidentally throw your refrigerator in the bathtub while you're taking a bath?
Yeah, or turkey
Sweet.
knife, coffee
Mhm.
pot, electric coffee. Yeah,
A
so
turkey knife. You just run around with one of those randomly and go throw it in the
yeah,
bath.
man,
Never know when you're gonna carve something.
Maybe I want to carve some
from the
turkey for a
wall.
fucking hot turkey sandwich for this bath I've got.
Well,
going.
You ever
You're
got
not
hungry?
carving turkey in the
in the
bathtub.
kitchen, you buy a sink, and if you buy a sink or buy a water, you got to have a GFCI. So there we are. So we're in the anyway, but that's not the point of the thing. So we go on behind the fucking wall. We
You
got
can't derail this, man.
all of our receptacles are wired in series. So every receptacle is acting as a conductor. It's rather than a conductor going through the wall and the receptacle wired to the main conductor, the receptacle is the main conductor. So we're running an oven 3 receptacles down from the GFCI. GFCI is not tripping. It's not doing its job.
You know, every time Red said conductor, I imagined him in like a Choo Choo Charlie hat.
I just kept imagining a different
you
type
for
of
girl,
conductor.
you know.
I'm like, is he a train conductor or is he
Or is
conducting
he a music conductor? You know,
Riding
like
that
the dude with
train,
ties and tails.
high on Lafayette. So so we've got a little night light next to the outlet between where this little oven's plugged in and the GFCI is plugged in. Get a little night light flickering. I'm like, what the fucker's broke? I pull it off. It's all melted on the back. I'm like, oh, that's really bad. And the plug's got a little. All right, let's not use the plug. I got to replace the plug. Well, we kept using the oven, and it's the same thing as our coffee pot's hooked on. So all morning we heat up water with the coffee pot. You're not the coffee pot, the electric tea kettle, right? So we're heating up water with the tea kettle, and Becca's going, I hear this sizzling, and I'm going, I don't hear sizzling. And she goes, wait, that wall plate didn't look like that before. And the wall plate, think of a receptacle plate, now had a hole in it, right? So it was like a hole had been melted in it. Like there was a little
Oh shit,
fire
bro!
back there, right? And I'm going, okay, that's not good. So I take that fucker off. Every time we turn on the kettle, that plug is shorting out.
It's
What
barking.
was going on was, the oven being a fucking high load device is running through all the current through that. Now we're back to amperage is hot. All that current through the fucking receptacle rather than bypassing through a wire. Needless to say, that receptacle was melted in half.
Super scary.
Super scary. Guys, check your electrical. Those
Hey.
were old receptacles on the house, and I'd probably replace half at this point.
You wouldn't know it, chat, based on Red's descriptions, but he lives in a pretty modern, nice suburban.
Yes,
Red isn't living in like a log cabin from
Not squalor.
1850 or anything like that.
My house is lighting itself on fire. My fridge is barking at me. My outlets are the wrong.
hey man, hey man.
My res keeps flooding itself.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what though?
On its
Focus
own, I don't-
drives on, baby.
And it's not that let's see, chime in. It's not a oven. It's like a toaster oven, right? It's a 110
It's like an air fryer.
Yeah.
oven. It's a
It's
stainless
pulling-
steel,
it's like 1,000
it's a
watt thing.
dehydrator oven. It was like $100. $100 got us a dehydrator and like a little oven that we can cook little pizzas. It's got maybe an 8 or a 10-inch capacity. It's not that big, but for the time being, our oven doesn't actually. Our 220 volt oven, our range does not actually work right now. And burnt out, fucking what you call it. I have oven issues.
You've
If
got
you've
a
been
broken
watching this
kitchen.
show, I haven't
had
had a
oven
fucking
issues
oven
for
in years.
a decade.
I've had an oven and not an oven, and then an oven and not an oven. We can cook a
No,
fucking.
you had an oven the whole time. You just didn't have an oven door.
I can make RSO. I can't make
And
the
the top.
RSO. I can dry my mushrooms. I can't
These are
dry
the
my
parts that you need to make it operate. But you had an oven. It just wasn't a fully functioning.
Well, he had parts of an oven anyway.
parts of an oven and then broken.
Mostly broken in somewhere.
oven, a replaced oven and then a broken oven. And,
It sounds like you're describing your old car, actually.
oh yeah, that
Which
car.
one?
Yeah, the good
Which
one.
one? Red had a whole armada of hoopties.
Had
So did I, man.
Not
I,
past tense.
I still have them. What do you mean had?
I still have my 1990. Well, my grandmother's 1999
focus.
Grand Am with like 60,000 miles on that bad
So
boy
crazy.
for sale. If anybody
That
wants,
much, that's pretty good.
Along
You
with
could
two
buy
mini
one.
splits will
That's
fit in the
wild.
back and we'll get you right on the road and
we
on
can,
your
we
way.
can do
man.
a package deal with 2 LG mini splits 54,000 BTUs a piece.
You know, I've got some 8-inch Magnum air-cooled hoods to throw in.
Oh,
I can add to that. I can add to that. How many
Magnetic
Magnum hoods
ballast
do
too,
you have?
baby.
If you have 2, I can match your 2, and we can.
I have at
The
least
car
10.
is free with the
Oh,
purchase
well, let's
of
make it a
the.
12 pack.
I have 10
Get a
hoods
free
and
car.
at least 10 ballasts.
You buy a couple mini splits and some ballasts, and you can have the car.
Yeah. You know what? Why don't you just hire Red and I to do some grow room consulting for you, and out of it, you get a free car.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Call
how.
now.
That's how it works out.
Operators are standing by.
Yep, grow room consulting and a car and
3 easy payments of
mini
a
splits.
lot of money.
Well, you know, people wonder why Reddit is always outside snapping peas off and eating beans and shit in the garden. Is because he didn't have a fucking stove to boil anything.
Damn
You gotta
straight.
make it
Can't
work
cook
how you
his
think it works, baby.
vegetables.
Right.
Can't be worried about having to cook stuff.
Sergeant Pepper's got some 315s to
He's
fucking.
got a
sweeten
pouch
the
of foraged dandelions from this.
We have a
last
grill.
summer still.
We have a grill, and that grill worked its ass off this past summer. And
I see you as more of a hibachi guy, Red.
On the grill.
Every-
He's probably grilling like squash and
Yeah.
eggplant.
Oh, yeah, on the grill.
Certainly.
on the grill, yeah. We
Yeah,
made it.
yeah.
We baked our
Oh, yeah.
spaghetti squash.
No
We-
fucking mix to speak of. See,
We
See, I
tried to
knew
figure
it.
out how
I
to
knew
bake
it.
brownies on the grill. We were like,
see,
we
guys, we need another brisket, bro. Well, since we're just vibing for food, man, we need
Let's
you to
do
get
it,
the
dude.
smoker shit set up again and fucking listen.
You
chat.
pick a
Don't
time,
realize-
and we can do that.
Dude, can we have a little smoke off or something, or like a rib, like I don't know about rib cook off, but I got a smoker for Christmas, guys, and I gotta say,
What kind you get? Tell Santa all.
Traeger Pro 575,
Traeger,
I
there
think.
you go.
Pellet
Use it.
operation.
Yeah,
I
dude.
got the old manual deal. You know, I still got to put stuff in there like a real
Hopper.
man for Broly.
There's no
Well,
automatic hopper for you, baby.
I'm already ready to swap over my my fireplace. You know what I mean? Like my wood burning
To
stove,
pellets.
just to
Yeah.
have the automatic. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I guess so. My dad's telling me about it because, of course, he's the one that's all into this, right? He's telling me, he's like, you know how this was all invented, right? And I'm like, no idea. He goes, well, some guy, I guess, owned like I don't know if it's a lumber mill or some sort of like logging industry type deal. He's got all this like sawdust and all this like wood and scraps laying all over the ground. He's like, what? We got to be able to do something with this, right? So what did he do? He just capsulized it and made a grill that pushed it through automatically, and it's just taken that industry by storm over the
Yeah, the
last.
guy's got to
couple
be a
years.
billionaire.
For sure, dude. Awesome
Pellet
idea.
guy. Yeah.
What
But
product?
yeah, dude.
I was reading chat. What product are you talking about?
Just pelletized wood
Oh,
pellets for
pelletized
smoking
wood.
and
Wooden
heating
balls,
houses.
yeah.
and-
Yep. Gotcha.
But I,
They use them at the National Forest Service uses them at our parks. They have them in like little
for fuel.
blocks. They're only like this big, but they're like dense as can be, dude, and they'll burn for fucking hours, man.
4 hours.
And it's just wood. It's not like a
Compressed wood.
Duralog with chemicals and shit. This stuff is like you can cook your food over it
Mhm.
for campfires.
Yeah, I think
Not-
they just use hydraulic pressure.
You're not allowed to use wood. You're not allowed to bring wood into the national parks.
Was it GML that had the mini fucking fryer with the Coke can that had the thing with the put a Zippo inside of it, and then the oil was on top of it, and they had a little teeny steak and they were flipping it? Was that on his or somebody else?
That might have been on. He's been showing.
That sounds funny.
Man, who
Or-
knows?
yeah, it's like,
I don't think it's
You
his content. He's been releasing a lot of content.
well, I'm sure, yeah. I always try to give props to where I stole it from myself. So. And even if I'm mistaken, I'm well intentioned. So that's all that matters.
I gotta say though, man, I'm not like I was never like really into smoking. I thought it was cool. I did it at my buddy's house. You know what I mean? Like just something
There's
to
a
do,
sound
like
clip.
chilling out,
I was never
watching,
into smoking.
I don't know, sports on a Saturday or whatever, hanging out in the front yard by the little barrel smoker, drinking beers or smelling smoke all day, I guess. But I made well, okay, so I got this 4-pack of steaks a couple weeks ago. We had 3 of them as a family. Took the other one, vac sealed it up, threw it in the freezer for a couple weeks, right? I get this grill. I'm like, oh, I got a steak. I'll try cooking up a steak, read up the recipe, how to do it and all that, stuff the little sensor in there and, just cook it based on temperature. I got to tell you guys, these were like some pretty good sized steaks. And when I took them off of the gas grill, they're like that big or something like that. When I
You
took
do it
them
well
out, no, they're solid pink inside. They're definitely crispy on the outside though. But when I took them off out of the smoker, there was no difference. And I'm not exaggerating at all. There was zero difference. And then I reverse seared it, dude. Easily the second best steak I have ever had in my life. And it was the first time cooking a steak on a smoker. And it's just mind blowing.
Hell yeah, man.
It's like
Yeah,
a cheat code to amazing food.
For real, dude. And it's like it's all like Wi-Fi enabled and shit nowadays. So you're literally just like, oh,
So,
there it is,
pretty fun,
140 degrees.
Another
100
great one is just put a whole chicken on that thing.
Yeah.
And
Wait, do I
you-
pluck it first, and can I use one of the roosters, or I'm kind of sick of one of them?
I believe you actually have to kill it first, and,
Okay.
and all that.
I think you have to, but you know,
Okay, just check it.
I mean, 140 is your smoking temperature low. So
So the feathers
Ribs are my favorite
chips.
because ribs take like a moderate amount of time to make, but like brisket and shit takes forever.
Well, that's
I love doing a
12 hours.
brisket though. I'm down.
I'm looking for that all day kind of experience. I did do a prime rib as well, and I've never cooked that before. And I honestly, I don't think I've ever even ordered it from a restaurant in my life. It's just like
All right.
something you get at weddings and stuff. It seems like, you know what I mean?
Are you cooking it at finishing temp?
Brisket?
What are you cooking it?
No,
no, I think he's talking
prime
about prime rib.
Oh, prime rib. Okay.
Yeah.
What,
Sorry,
what-
what was
You
that?
you should
like
take
as
that
far as
prime rib and
temperature
slice it up
goes,
with
are you
garlic.
cooking it like at the finishing temp? Like you
No, that was only a 5-pound prime rib, so I
60,
cooked it
I mean?
at 225.
225.
Yeah.
So-
the steak, I
so-
think I did 250 or something.
I'm gonna throw a theory out there, but I'm thinking that the higher the temperature, the more you're going to destroy, metabolites, mineral content, and stuff like
Proteins,
that.
enzymes,
Nutrient
everything.
density.
My theory is that lower temperature is allowing that steak to stay alive longer. Even though it's reaching that cooked internal temperature, the overall temperature to which all those enzymes have to bathe in during
It's
all that doesn't get hot
it's-
enough.
There's a key to cooking meat, Red. You got to get what's called the Maillard reaction, which is when you brown meat, it's what gives meat its flavor and stuff. So that's part of the reason why when you smoke food, you do like a little bit higher temperature than like your goal finish temperatures, so that it cooks uneven in a sense, because you want it to brown on the outside just a little bit to get that actual that flavor is what gives like steak a good flavor. It's what makes meat taste good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm saying like kind of like the, it's gonna have more of a nutrition value than if you were to cook it on the grill and take it up to a higher
Oh,
temperature.
for sure.
That's
And
why
there's other stuff too with grilling food, like
probably has an overall a greater end weight after you cooked it. The weight of it.
For sure, dude. It definitely seemed like it, man. It was, and it was like the other steak, it was good. I mean, it was the same package of steaks, right? I guess I did use sort of different seasoning because I did buy new seasoning, but pretty much used it the same way. I cooked it, yeah, I guess kind of differently, but like just according to like a recipe, right? And it was just a world of difference. And I kind of can't believe I've ever not done it this way. You know what I mean? Definitely want to try the brisket because I want to do one of those all day things. Would love to try I would really
Ribs, man.
love. Okay, so I'm getting there, dude. But I would really love to do like a pork shoulder or something like that. And I mean, if I could get one from Morganja Farms, man, that'd be the way to go. But so ribs
Pork
is one of
butt,
those
dude.
things. Yeah, pork butt, pork shoulder, pork butt. I know one of them.
ribs are my favorite thing to crush on the smoker, dude. They don't take very long. Like you can get out of work and start ribs and finish them.
Okay.
And they'll be incredible every time.
So I have a handed down recipe to me from my father for ribs, and my parents have ruined me on a few things, ribs included, chocolate
Yeah,
chuggies.
no one has ever
chocolate
cooked good
cookies.
ribs for me anywhere except for like a real good barbecue place.
I would love to give that a shot now, especially that you're throwing the challenge out there, But no,
Like,
it's-
I mean, my parents and stuff, especially. It's like you never have like a good steak from your parents type of deal. They could not cook ribs. to save their
I'm
life.
under a huge opinion that improper cooking, basically not smoking your meat, not eating just cured, almost raw, meat like that, is a lot of the overcooking, high temperature cooking our meats is why meat is considered, I'm going to air quote this, unhealthy, because meat is very healthy for you.
Well, it comes from an era of like meat being like a little bit dirtier for a time, right? They overcooked it to a degree to make it more healthy and stuff like that. Now we're eating like a lot more raw foods. We're eating like
Mhm.
I've eaten raw steak at places. I've eaten, that's something that like my parents never would have done by
No.
Right.
what my taste buds experienced as a kid.
Oh,
It
yeah.
seemed like everything had
helper,
to be
baby.
super dry and
Propaganda for the last 6 years told us everything's filled with death-causing bacteria.
and worms and whatever,
Right.
I mean, shit, it hasn't even really been it's just been over a century, I think, since we kind of figured out what germs were, right? Like it's those germ theories and stuff haven't been around that long, in relation to, I guess, humans, but and ribs. But ribs are that's one, I've got a specific way of doing it, and I do it in the oven currently, and it's like a 5-hour cook time, I think. In addition to, that's just baking. We do a broil, we do a grill,
that sounds
basting and-
about appropriate for good.
But
ribs, for sure.
yeah, I want to. I guess I'm going to have to see if I can do a similar method in a smoker. And I would
I'll
assume that.
send you something and you can try it and you'll be pleased. for
Do
sure.
you use a turkey bag at all in a smoker?
Just tinfoil
Okay.
for
okay.
ribs. For
Okay.
ribs. Sometimes like butcher paper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For the drippings, if you get any.
Yeah.
Here's one good thing for you. If you guys use a smoker a lot, I'm not trying to be funny about it, but make sure you guys empty out the grease catch and shit and all that in the bottom, man, because they will catch on fire eventually. If you fucking keep fucking around with them, you get too much shit on them.
It creates a nice thick bark on the inside of your smoker.
Dude, go back to when I was talking to Tara about make sure you have that metal scraper, man. Dude, it's like pulling up peppermint bark out of the bottom of the fucking smoker.
And don't eat it either. It's not good.
Ugh.
Andy
Yummy.
Red had one of them little R2D2 smokers forever, and I think I destroyed that fucking thing, having a bonfire in it one time.
There's an R2D2 looking smoker called the Big Green Egg or something.
I thought that's what he was talking about. I'm like, you had a bonfire and a green egg,
You
bro.
need the-
I'm
The
so
Green
scared,
Egg
right? I
is a
would've
really
killed you.
popular
No,
smoker.
these are like real R2D2s. They're like 3 feet tall. They're like look like
Need a
little trash,
chiminea, man.
little round top.
Not recently.
No, old school.
I'm pretty sure my buddy, when we smoked out in front of his house in Lansing, I think he just found like an old oil barrel or something and like stuck a hook on the side of it, because
seen
that's
that
what that
done
was.
for sure. Yep. Some of my favorite memories are like whole hog roasts, as
Oh,
a kid,
bro.
on smokers like that.
I've
But yeah, they'll take like barrels and cut them in half or whatever and make a giant smoker, and then they'll just smoke a whole hog at like a family reunion or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when they pull up in the
Oh,
trailer
boy.
and they've got their really long smoker on there and they just throw
Yeah.
whatever on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
dude, this is
dude,
pretty
that's
cool.
I first found out about like those pig roasts, I guess I'll call them, when I went to Hawaii and got to experience a luau, and that was one of the coolest, like,
A
just
true pig roast, yeah.
yeah, man, like a real, like, they buried it in the ground and like roasted it all day long and like pulled it up and everything. It was like a real luau, and ever since then I've kind of been obsessed with that idea, and I would love to do something like that myself. But yeah, I have had it off of a big old like trailer barrel smoker thing. It was it was a graduation party, just one of those kind of, everyone's got to eat, let's go.
Dude, I've got this idea in my head that when we move and have property or whatever, I want to build a pizza oven outside, like a
Yes,
brick
dude,
pizza
fuck
oven.
yeah, man. Yeah.
That's what I told my
It
wife.
can't be
I'm
that
like,
hard, right?
No, it's not. It's
No.
not at all.
Can't be that hard. So
It's just
I'm interested in.
brick igloo,
Cool.
you know what I mean?
It's a good old fashioned fire grilled pie, man.
Fuck, that's
Yeah.
gonna be good.
Yeah, so I got this gas grill, right, and I got this smoker now, and that's what I said. Secrets. I'm like, all right, babe, we gotta build a pizza oven. We gotta like build a roof around it, and
Leveling up, man.
be out here all summer long.
I don't want to buy a pizza oven. I want to buy
You
a
make your
stack of
make it.
bricks and make an
Yeah.
oven.
Yeah, I figured if I gotta like expand some patio space, we might just build a patio up, like.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this moment right now to just
Invite us all to a pig luau.
well, after we have our giant outdoor kitchen, because it sounds like we all like the idea of an outdoor kitchen, and I was trying to explain to Mama Red why it would be a great idea to have an outdoor kitchen. So thank you all for solidifying my reason for wanting an outdoor kitchen. I'm not the only one.
Well,
who wants an outdoor
No, but
kitchen.
you
wood
have
firing
deck,
pizza
though.
preferred outdoors, Red. You don't want either smoke or heat inside of your house.
Neither nor
Exactly,
yes.
exactly. That's how it's for efficiency purposes. It's all
Yeah,
for
yeah,
efficiency.
yeah.
Reg, you have
also
the
closest
covered balcony over top of you.
balcony.
You have the extensive fucking deck. Like you can put
Yeah.
true tables out there and like
I don't like coming in the house. I don't like leaving the backyard, to be honest. If I could stay out there all the time, I would. It's great back there. We go out there as early as possible. We put a coffee pot out there, and put the old percolator out there on the stove, on the grill, and make some
I'm
coffee.
sure
There's
Becca wouldn't
snacks
mind
growing
banishing
everywhere.
you to outdoors sometimes.
Dude, I talked about putting a tent out there. I'm gonna go sleep in the garden for a month. Go hang out there, eat my weight.
You
in-
should do it as like a YouTube challenge and put it on your channel.
I got one.
Yeah.
Dude, I got one.
February.
Who can grow the 2 cannabis trees big enough to support a hammock?
Oh wow,
painted lady.
interesting.
That's what I was thinking.
It's a pretty good guess.
I'm going with Painted Lady too.
That's a wild one.
Oh man, just dude, over the summer when we were at your house for the party and we got to walk amongst all those plants, even before they started flowering.
Yeah.
Fucking A, bro.
It was like just before they started flowering too.
Just before they started. Yeah, it was July.
We're gonna be smoking that stuff forever, dude. I think.
bet. Good.
Yeah.
We can help you with that. We can work things out, right?
Yeah. And trimming it and smoking it and trimming it and smoking it.
Such
You know what? I travel with scissors, man. You need me to stop by?
So you're the reason they sell those belt looped holsters, huh?
No, you know what I do is because I used to work in the fucking restaurant industry forever in a bar and a pub. I used to have a lot of corks. So anytime that I have a pair of scissors and I got to go somewhere, instead of just throwing it in my backpack,
That's smart.
just bury the fucking scissors into the cork and then throw that shit in your pack. And then that can save some unfortunate
Dude,
fucking issues in the
I
future.
be doing that with my dab tools.
You should be
You know
doing
what I mean?
dude, I can go grab my fucking dab tools and they all have different like corks and shit on the end of all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's smart, dude. I like that. Pro tips.
Well, and it's nice because it kind of keeps it cleaner too. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna take this time to as we lead into hash time here to share my experience about the Third Eye Craft Fair today. I got to
Oh, you went to the fudge. Yeah.
I went to the
When
fudge.
we're not there. For Growler decides to show up.
Yeah, right.
It was good. Yeah.
Taking shifts like night
I
watchman.
I was just waiting, get a week off for you guys
his
finally.
time for us to not be there.
I didn't want to spend all day with you guys. Jeez, but then next year, then come home and have to
5.
talk next year too. Yeah, jeez. No, so it was pretty awesome, guys. It was the first time in a long time that I really felt like those old school community vibes. And if you know what I'm talking about, you definitely know what I'm talking about. And it was pretty awesome. There's about 18 to 20 small caregiver local Michigan vendors, everything from cannabis to glass and art and in between. There was it sounds like it's the same food vendor, right, Red? The Grand Rapids like Asian cuisine.
They're
Yeah.
there a lot.
Char.
Okay.
Char's there most of the time. Last week they had like a breakfast barbecue joint.
Okay.
But 9 out of 10 times it's been Char.
And they were fantastic, great food.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Wait, would you say that again?
The wonton nachos, I think. Is
Wonton nachos.
they're
Whoa,
so
whoa, what the fuck is a wonton nacho?
No, dude, they do
Bro.
like this Eastern Southwest mix food thing. So think of like Asian and Mexican.
Yeah,
together.
100%.
tech Asian.
Tech
Yeah.
Asian. Yeah, there you go.
I had the
Tech
chicken tacos, and there was just like a crazy assortment of stuff on top of it that just blew my mind. And I kept calling it an empanada. It's not an empanada. It's crab ragoon, dude, with like real crab in it. And
Fuck yeah,
they
those are
they
good.
threw that on top. Like I didn't order that; they just threw it on top for me. And I bit into it, not knowing any idea what it was. And fortunately, I love crab, but it was all so good, man. And so I was impressed with the food. I was impressed with the vendors and the vibe and the just chill, relaxed atmosphere. The music was great. He didn't take any dabs today, and I gave him an edible and some pre rolls. I told him next time I'll give him some dabs.
Question, did you grab any?
About one.
Did you grab
Right.
any mycology for yourself?
Actually, I
out
was
DJ
gifted
Rondown.
some. Yeah. Say
That's
again, Red.
Sorry. I wanted to shout out DJ Rondon. I've seen him in our chat. I've seen him on the show. He's followed the show. Becca and I worked with him in Ann Arbor at New Standard. He was a part of the sales team with us, and we worked with him for, I don't know, man, a few months or so, and that's how we met him. And then we sent his information, or Becca threw his information over to Nate and hooked them up to link them up together. But Ryan's a great dude, man. He's an awesome DJ. He throws, his playlist reminds me a lot of the playlist that I have loaded up for parties. Down to the fucking
Lots of the Bee Gees and
it's pretty much, dude. Pretty much, like he'll play like, you know, like the culture music, you know, hip hop and stuff like that. But he will play throwback stuff and like,
It's good.
yeah, it's super
Yeah.
good, man. It's fun. He will play Bee Gees and stuff, dude. It's super cool. You know,
It definitely contributed to the vibe a lot, and you know, you noticed if there was ever a gap in his music, you noticed because it's like oh, like I was bouncing to that, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing to bounce to anymore. But it was all around great music too. Yeah, I just felt like everyone was taken care of. We actually set a new attendance record tonight, which was cool.
sweet.
So it was very busy. Saw a lot of familiar faces that I see at every event I've gone to, or most of these events I go to. Some new faces, some people that, for example, someone came up to my booth and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" They're like, "I haven't seen your topicals." Like the last time I had it was 3 years ago. She was there with her elderly mother, and she's like, "This is." She's talking to her mom. She's like, "Mom, so you get, I probably shouldn't say the name, but it's a commercial brand." She's like, "You get, such and such commercial brand. This is basically like twice as good as that, And she was just talking about the amount of THC in the jar, right? And it was just like, it's, the same amount of like volume, but it's twice the amount of THC. And she's like, she looks at me and she goes, "This is the only topical that I found has worked." Or she hasn't found another topical that's worked as well as mine since she tried it 3 years ago. And it's like, just getting a simple compliment like that was pretty awesome. And then for her to share that with her mother, who was going to be able to take advantage of it too, a lot of people interested in the topicals today. It was, it's just, I don't know, one of those highly medicinal things in my opinion.
topicals work really good, man.
It's crazy. The salve that you make lasts a long time too. That's the other good thing about it is you give people a decent sized jar of that, and you get it through their head that you really have to rub this shit in, like really spread it in, and the heat from your hands will help get everything going for it and shit. Man,
it's
the
the
healing of
old
it.
school market too. It's a lot of people that are like new to the culture, maybe, but it's a lot of the old school like culture principles and stuff. Nobody's scoffing at pricing. People are, talking to the makers, the farmers, the crafters, and treating them, as the entrepreneurs that they are, and learning about their businesses and asking the right questions and supporting who they want to support, which is what it's all about. If you want a cheap product, you can get a $30 ounce, go to the dispensary,
Right.
totally available.
$29, Red.
$29.99.
29 at 250.
Yeah. and I'll tell you what, dude, it's great that it's seemingly that there's room on the bread shelf for everybody. We got to like go to different stores and stuff like that, but it's at least there's some little outlets like this. I love the craft fair, and there's the Sesh for a Cause, from my understanding, is very similar community and culture oriented, and then there's the Vehicle City Social and Genesee County Passion Club that will put on similar type events. Those ones are a little more sparingly, whereas the craft affair has been every week. They are taking a break the first 2 weekends in February. There will not be a craft affair the first 2 weekends in February. We will not be there. We weren't there today. We won't be there the next couple weeks. We're trying to get back in for the end of the month. The last weekend of the month, we'll have a full drop. The the next time we're there, we'll probably won't have. We only took GMO with us.
Let's say, did you run out of inventory, Red?
We have
What the
ran
fuck?
like
You don't- dude,
we're
if
just
I
on
wouldn't-
GMO right now, and
That's a good problem. That's
Yeah,
a good
it is.
problem to
It's a
have.
great problem to have. right?
Oh, you know how bummed I would be though if I went up to Red and Becca's table. I'm like, oh my god, I've wanted to see you guys for fucking ever. Hit me with that rainbow driver, baby. Go.
But hold on though, this is the beauty of what we call a craft affair. You know, that is
Menu is online, so
exactly.
you can check it out before you come out. So
Ooh, very nice. You want to
Menu's
shout
on
out
the
that
website,
address?
redstarfarm.com. You can get there.
And where is the Fledge located? Someone in chat asked us.
Eureka Road in Lansing, pretty much downtown, not too
1800?
far.
1300 Eureka Road.
It looks from the outside, it looks like an old fraternity house, in my opinion, but it's actually an old church.
Old church,
Definitely looks like a church on the
community
inside.
On the
center.
inside, yeah, definitely, 100%.
No. They have like
So-
a little aquaponics garden and a recording studio. Go ahead, Sequence. What were you gonna say?
So Red, both you and Fergroli, you guys seem to have some varied products trying to fit kind of all of the market needs. At what point are you going to really fulfill the market need and develop your own suppository?
That's asking the real question, Sequence.
I know Fergroli just muted himself to say something, and
It
then
sounds like they're stuck in the R&D stage. Right now.
I create and source when a need is necessary. And at one time the need was necessary, and I had a patient come to me and ask for suppositories, and I did what I could to source suppositories, and I sourced suppositories for him. And they were way too intense.
But Red, wouldn't you like them to be single source?
And
No.
so actually,
super
and here's the thing. I could definitely
Good follow up, right?
I could recreate. The suppository would be single source suppository. Single source suppository.
Perfect.
Well, it depends. I would probably have a mix. I'd probably do a single source, but I'd probably also do a like full spectrum, if you will, and a nice variety of. I'm not sure if terpenes
So you
do
just,
anything. If you buy,
you're willing to outsource ingredients for this sort of a product?
I would probably try to grow my own. It's definitely okay. So the
You know what I would
applicator.
add to that?
Okay, so I want to talk about this suppository as a matter of fact, because
Red, before you
didn't
do,
get
let me just add this part: is that you should really try to do like a one-to-one on a suppository.
the review in which my patient now. I have to give a warm.
Warm up the suppository.
How relevant are terpene mixtures in these suppositories?
Not at all, unless you want to smell like clementine.
Yeah, I
farts.
wasn't.
They have lasting
I'm not
power.
thinking.
Heart and peppermint.
Our organs and everything. So, now, even though.
What was the review?
Well, the review. Okay, so first of all, I have to talk about what the suppository. The suppository consisted of like a syringe type applicator, okay, and or more like a syringe dart with a applicator tip. Okay, so in order to
What was the
utilize,
circumference of the tip?
in order, I'm guessing,
It matters.
big enough. And
Whoa.
so big enough,
What?
the tip
This
And-
is getting good.
the tip enters, and the
Get your shit together
syringe
for hashtag 2 minutes.
then the syringe is then depressed to the proper amount. So it's already difficult enough to like depress the syringe into a capsule or onto your finger, or but imagine trying to depress the syringe into your backside. So
I mean, can't you
Are
just
you-
sit on it, Red?
it was
And you're just ejecting something, right? Ejecting.
yeah, but it was really messy,
Inject-
right? This was a messy
Oh, I bet.
process. Imagine, well, because like, all right,
Isn't there a better way?
Yeah, just put it in your mouth.
So
Yeah, you can do the same thing you do with your face.
so
and just put it in a
RSO
capsule.
Do it in your face.
First of all,
Put it in the capsule. Yep.
we're all thinking of a suppository, like a capsule or a suppository.
Well, can't you just
This
use a
was
capsule?
This was not a capsule or suppository. This was
A man pun?
insert RSO into your rectum.
Oh Jesus! We
Just
cut out the
like-
middleman.
like this was like just like eject the syringe into the rectum with the applicator tip. That's all this thing
Wow.
was. So it's already messy if you're trying to like put it on your finger or something. Imagine how messy it is.
Your ass cheek sticks together because you got fucking
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, I
Right,
can't
it
imagine.
doesn't-
man.
Bro, why are you walking funny?
It doesn't inhale
Hashtag,
a full
hashtag.
dose. It exhales a little bit.
gotta be a better way.
between the cheeks,
My
right?
cheeks are stuck together, bro.
Let me just say
Yeah,
this.
and
No,
you gotta
man.
inhale, and
No.
he's older. He doesn't, quite
Through your butt.
can't control the
Oh,
muscles.
God.
Whatever's going on. So anyways, it was a terrible product. The other
It's
person,
a terrible product.
the other
Hashtag-
person that I tried
hashtag.
sourcing through. This is the
call
other
it.
person I tried
Hashtag.
sourcing through. She goes,
I call it.
hashtag,
Red. We're trying to get red. There we go.
hashtag. So the other person I tried to source through.
Who was that? That
I
was so
find-
good.
that was a spoon and a coffee mug. That's
Is that the new
Going.
triangle bell?
so I try to source a better product, and I find a caregiver who has product finding. This product was at the provisioning center down the road. So I find this person has little capsules. They're like that big, right? They're about that big or so. Except the shape of them is the alien from Alien. It's that elongated.
Rip out of his
alien
butthole like
head,
that?
the banana-shaped alien head with the dual mouth and the mouth coming out with the mouth coming out of the mouth. You know
Did
what
they
I mean?
stand it?
That was the capsule shape. It was just the suppository was not a capsule. The suppository was like a little wax gummy that you just used,
Was
as
it
the
a gummy bear?
suppository. But it was the shape of the alien head with the mouth, with the mouth.
Is
So
it a sugar-free
like-
gummy bear?
Yeah, so you had to like stick this alien head in as a suppository, and I was like, I can't give this.
Oh, Red. This story it just keeps
alien
turning.
head. So he was done with the suppositories. I'm like, just try the RSO. I had just regular RSO for him. So here, he gave him some RSO. God bless this guy. Rest in peace. He was an awesome guy. He had a very, very harsh form of like pancreatic cancer or something that just, it ended up ending his life. But he's a great guy. He's a distant member of close friends of the family, who I didn't really meet throughout childhood. I kind of met him in my adult life, things like that. But his family had later came to me and told me how grateful they were, and just because the cannabis had helped him so much, even though it was just such a small period of time that I had worked with him. I mean, just a couple of months, few months, you know what I mean? But just the reaching out and just, coming through some sort of a service. And then like actually the medicine was helping him through, end of life struggles, whatever it was. And it was just a great thing for him to be able to use. And that's what I got out of that. And so, I mean, whatever method it takes to, get some sort of satisfaction from this plant, people are trying every route that they can, and it is effective. I've actually at the Third Eye Craft Affair, I think we had 3 different conversations just last week. One person who had like got some RSO from me, and I gifted them a little bit of RSO. They said that their family member that they were treating with some RSO has had like 0 cancer and anything showing up, and like so many other people are just telling me how the RSO has just eaten away at people's tumors and cancers. Somebody that they knew has been on a regimen for like the last 7 years of RSO because their cancer got depleted 7 years ago and has just been on this regimen ever since. And it's just, I can't stop making this oil for people, man. You know what I mean? No way, no how. Spartan, your boat too, man.
It's amazing stuff, dude.
know,
And even for much less serious things,
man,
just aches and pains.
oil.
Sleep.
And it can be applied topically too, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's activated, so it can
Yeah.
be applied that way. I want to before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I saw a question come up, but you asked if I got any mycology, and I did. My neighbors, Magnum Opus, they had some microdose capsules. I guess you could probably take those as a suppository if you really wanted to, but they are a combination of I think it's this penis envy strain and lion's mane. So it's the two, the non-psychoactive and the psychoactive mushrooms together, 0.2 in each one, just some, little microdose pack. That was pretty cool. And they actually, they had some RSO as well. He's an outdoor grower, not too far from here, or at least partly outdoor. And he was making RSO and putting the terpenes back into it after the fact. So I thought that was kind of cool. So you had some actual flavor to it, and some additional medicinal value, of course.
RSO has flavor. Hold on.
That it does. I tell you from experience. And then I was fortunate enough to connect with a few different hash makers, and I traded up for some solventless. So I've got some Fort Wendy here, some Magnum Opus. I keep saying that wrong. And what is the other one? It's
Ooh, that Fort Wendy's good.
tonical
is that?
terps.
You found some hash makers that were willing to trade with you?
Wait.
Dick move sequence.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, hold on. Did I accidentally bring up this debate again?
I mean, I will say
definitely
I
did,
traded,
bro. You
I
did.
traded 3 grams for 2 grams, but it's okay. You know what I mean? I support my fellow hash makers. But I
was
mean,
curious,
you said
someone
fellow
could be
hash
like,
makers?
I'm never doing the BHO. You know what I mean? I was giving those guys some props for being
I get it all the time, but I will say, and I'll pat myself on the back while I say this. I often get, and this says a lot for the BHO industry, I think, more than anything. I often get people that come up to my booth, especially this year, that said, I'm pretty much a strictly solventless smoker, but you're the only BHO I'll smoke. And I'm not kidding you. That was close to a dozen
kind of
times.
says
this year.
something similar to that. So
He's not lying. I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah, I think Bates says that.
And it's it's unfortunate for me to hear that because it's not like I feel personally attacked. It's more of a compliment to me, but it's like, man, like my whole side of the corner of the industry is just failing so hard that people have just kind of shut them out. So it's disappointing to see that, but it's the cycle of things.
I will say I like how clean it keeps my nail, man. I got no
For Growly, you're in a bubble too, man. Don't kid yourself. Fucking BHO is still the fucking king of the market in the commercial side, and it still is sold by the cajillion. So don't think that that's not like a popular item.
Yeah, but
I like
the
BHO
reason it's
better. I
sold,
like BHO better than rosin. I'd rather smoke BHO than rosin, hands down. Rosin is fucking got all the waxes still left in it, and it's not as clean. On my banger, I can see it after I smoke it. Got a bunch of
dude,
shit.
I want to do a Q-tip test. I will say, I thought one of the cool things, I've never seen this in an event before. There was, I want to say at least 10, maybe 12 6-foot tables set up in the center of everybody for just people to sesh at. And at every row of tables, there's 4 or 5 rows of tables. Every row had 2 little tiny, almost like 6-pack beverage pails, you know what I mean? Just these little plastic buckets. And each one of them had a sign on that said Q-tips only. There's literally 12 buckets that you could put just your Q-tips in because there was that much dabbing going on at this event. I thought that was pretty cool. But
why did they have to separate the Q-tips from everything else? What are they going to do with them?
Well, I just don't. I think they don't want food and stuff going in there.
Oh,
Probably
okay,
trying to keep them clean or something. But
Something they're trying to do.
yeah, it's just more for that, I guess. Keep the trash in the trash bin. But
It's like they can't be recycling them or something.
It's a paper product. You could compost it,
I was
but
gonna say turn it into pellets so we could have some ribs later.
yeah, I don't know. You can burn
Turbs,
it.
bro, the turbs.
Maybe you can
Yeah,
burn
dude.
Burning them's not a bad idea because they're full of all that oil. You might sit around.
Why not,
burn
dude?
pretty
Yeah,
good,
that's
I
what I'm
bet.
saying. Smoke
Don't
out
let
them
your
ribs.
dog,
But yeah, I will
Karen?
say if
don't let your dogs eat them.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, there.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
big PSA.
Yeah.
Learn my lesson a few times.
I got a
Tina
dumpster
learned
for
hers.
my Q-tips.
He does. It's sweet.
Yellow and blue.
That's right.
I mean it's a good point though. Look
My
at
boy
your
Spartan
Q-tips
needs a
after
green and
you.
white one, man, with the logo on there, man.
You
It's-
got to ask the guy that makes the dumpsters. Don't ask me.
I think for
Makes
Growly's
the
trying to
dumpster
say
drill. I still use it every day.
Yeah, and
What was
not to stir up crazy controversy over between the two sides.
Not to get it started again, but to get it started again.
Not to get started again, but to get it started again. Because I think that there's not quality aside, and like let's just say cleanliness aside and all that other stuff. The way that the different genetic types wash, right? The way that the different genetic types extract mechanically is different dependent on trichome head size and terpenes sometimes favor trichomes. It almost seems like trichomes, there's almost a correlation between terpenes and certain trichomes or types of
I think it's because certain types of plants grow certain types of terpenes and certain types of trichomes.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking that not every cannabis plant is created equally. In a world of cannabis, and we can call it all cannabis all we want, but the reality is they're all different species of plant. Using the word species lightly, very lightly and broadly here, right? You know what I mean? But they're all different plants,
Fastly and loosely.
And so the citrique, for example, or a lime skunk or something super piney, citrusy. Maybe not citrus. Maybe citrusy is a bad word. The limey specifically, or like that greasy. They just do not wash, man. And washers aren't going to wash them. You're not going to catch those flavonoids in the rosin side of things. I'm going to go flavonoid, not quality. We're just going to go flavonoid. You're not going to just see that in rosin. It's going to be a very rare cultivar that maybe somebody will have, and they might be able to catch that super cool niche. But like Spartan says, you're going to get the waxes and stuff. So maybe there's a point of refining that's going to go on there. And I don't know.
You make a good point. It boils down to this reality that some people I feel like don't want to accept. Not all strains wash well in solventless. All strains are going to do well in BHO or some form of chemical extraction because the physics of the process and the biology makeup of the plant, it just is what it is. That doesn't mean one is better than the other or one is somehow less than the other.
Right.
There's certainly quality levels. You could have a great strain do really well in one and do really poor in the other, but they could also what comes out could come out great. It just maybe it doesn't wash well, but what you got out of it, it's super tasty. But when it comes to a commercial aspect of it, those are reasons to not do it a certain way, which, to be fair, limits the solventless side. They're limited because of the mechanical separation process that they use. That doesn't mean it's better or worse. In my personal opinion, it means it's not as efficient of a process in the overall grand scheme of things. But when it came down to the fact that my favorite strain basically was unable to be washed, I said, this is not for me. I'm not going to swap over to something that doesn't work for the plants I grow. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like Rainbow Driver, it won't wash. I can tell you which ones will wash or not just by
what about Citrique?
How they trim. No,
I kind of figured as much.
No, dude, I could trim it all day and not be left with any hash left over for myself. That's how I know. And like I'll get some on my fingers. I'll get a little bit of that finger hash or something like that, but it's not like
the Rainbow is not like that. You're not getting a lot of scissor hash off it.
It cleans more than anything. Like it cleans my fingers more than anything.
Do you find that with the lime a lot? That's
the lime. That's the citrique. Yeah, that's the one that's doing it. Is the citrique. And I don't know if it's a limonene thing and the fact that it's a solvent itself.
I think in general, when you get to those citrusy type of terpenes, I mean, for Growly can speak to this. All of them will extract better with BHO than they do mechanically.
Sure.
So, like, if you're a person that prefers strains that taste that way, like for Growly is, and you want to get extracts, your decision's kind of made for you.
And I think there's something too you can lose something in the water on the wash.
You definitely can.
You smell it for sure.
You don't have that. Yeah, you don't have that on the BHO side, so you can catch that.
There was a study, and I'm terrible because I can't cite it right now, but there are some water soluble terpenes, and most terpenes are non-water soluble, right? Myrcene and a few of the others, there's a lot of it in the plant, and it won't just like wash out in the water.
Right.
But here's what ends up happening: it half lives in the water. It's what it happens. So it doesn't wash out completely, but like it, to an extent, it like loses a tenth of its wash, or loses a tenth of its potency. And there's a ratio between all of the terpenes and each other. And what it ends up happening is when it goes through the water, the ratios get all weird and out of whack. And something to do with the different ratios. Like if there's a certain ratio of like pinene or terpenylene or
Dude,
something.
you realize what you're saying? You're literally changing the terpene profile of the plant through the process of extraction.
That's
what is the point of
absolutely
that?
happens.
You know what I mean? Like, why? I wouldn't even.
Well, depending on
mess with
what other
So-
terpenes are in there, will depend on how much myrcene gets washed out and weird shit like that. It's super bizarre, and that's what they were kind
Go
of.
ahead,
Yeah.
Sequence.
I was just going to say, without getting super technical, you can think of it from like a 5-year-old's perspective. And you say, at every point of the process, you have some percentage of loss, right?
Yeah.
So when you wash it, you lose some in the water. When you press it, you lose some in the bag, whether that's terpenes or yield or whatever, it's in there.
Yeah.
You know,
And
every
there's a lot.
every step, there's some left over, right? And the same thing is true for like BHO, right? You blast it, maybe you have some left in your material, but that's one step. That's not 3 steps to get there, you know?
I
So
see.
And I would say that because of the loss of product, the loss of yield or whatever, and like the fact that there's only, you know, it's only so many varietals that will wash well, etc. It makes washing, and I am gonna like say that, be very kind to the washers. It makes it a very nice artisan product because it takes a lot of knowledge to get there, you know, and to do it correctly, to not lose all your yield. If you're going to do it commercially, that takes a lot. And I think that that's why like BHO is so commercial,
especially to get like a reasonable color and stuff, you
commercial
know?
market, but there's a lot of
Remember
garbage.
those early
BHO
years
out there.
when
And
the
if you
color.
have to do it correctly, you spend the money to do it correctly, and you use the right equipment like Fagroli's doing, use the right filters and everything, you're using the best of the filters. You don't see commercial producers doing that. They're strictly running for yield. They're strictly running other people's stuff just for yield.
Unbleached coffee filters, by the way. That's it. Like I'm
See,
not,
there you go.
I'm not like
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
CRC or anything like
And I
that. It's just super
guarantee
cold
it looks
times,
like
fire in,
mine
fire out.
may have just gotten a touchdown.
Yeah, they did.
And my guess is like somebody who's valuing ROI over patient access is going to be using bleach coffee filters because it's cheaper by the 1,000 count. You
Well,
know,
and they're going to be just
10
blasting
cents
trim
per
and turning it
pound.
into distillate and shit like
Or
that.
just
They're not
use-
going to care.
There you go.
Yeah. And I think that like that's what makes Fagroli a crafter and an artisan as well, is because he's choosing to spend that extra whatever $1.50, $20.50 or whatever it costs for that better filter product, to not use bleach in his products, you know, because that's going to bleach out into his extract, you know what I mean? And I guarantee that the other manufacturers aren't worrying about that. They're worried about cost. They're
Well,
probably
let me ask a question of just
different
people in
seal.
general. Is would you grow a plant that was like amazing for hash, and you would go through the whole process of growing the plant and then fucking turning around and hashing it for the sole purpose of having it as like a true hash plant for yourself? Would you be willing to do that for yourself, or are you more the type that you like the variety and would shop around for it, support other people?
So I like a little bit of both, man. Yeah, I'm pretty like, I like to do my own thing, but at the same time I like to support other people.
Right.
At
What
least
about you, Tara? You haven't said much tonight. I see chat said that, and I know that you have your favorites on what you want to do, and you don't mind putting in the man hours.
No, I do have my favorites, and I'm very specific in what I'm after. So I definitely, going into the seeds that we pop, there are definite ones that are gonna, I think, gonna be for hashing, or hopefully gonna try being something done with it.
Let's talk about those plants you got going, those little ones. How they looking?
Oh yeah, this one.
Besides
This
the
is-
weird mutant one that we've seen, like
Yeah, this is one of my Chem cookies right here. It's a little weird too, honestly. It's got a bunch of like this little leaf, extra little leaves coming up here. I don't know. It's been struggling. I don't know. That's not been the best ones to pop, honestly. My ones doing the best have been the Meat Breath and the Cherry Afghani, and then we've got one that we don't know the name of, and we're calling MFJs for motherfucking Jones.
I'm interested in the cherry Afghani.
Me too. So I'm after cherry terps. I want some cherry terps. So
I'm after Afghani.
that's my goal right there. Is cherry
I
like
want cherry without the musky. Can you get cherry that's like hot, like
Maraschino.
high in the forehead cherry, not like low in the cheeks cherry?
I don't know.
What?
We'll have
Yeah,
to wait.
yeah.
Seasons out.
No, I see what you're saying, dude. It's that cherry that tastes like it's been chilling in grandma's cabin over the summer
Musky,
versus the cherry that's like comes out of like a Jolly Rancher.
yes, yeah.
Hold on.
Cherry with the
Good.
forehead smack rather than a nose punch.
I had a conversation today. I've been thinking for the last couple of weeks that cheese was going to be the big strain of 2023, but after what I saw today, I think it's going to be cherry. There's cherry in everything right now. I feel like
We're growing
I really-
cherry crescendo.
There you go.
Sound like we're gonna have to get the fruit going.
Something.
I'm looking forward to seeing Crescendo come back and see what it brings to it for sequence
Nice to
specifically,
meet you.
because you had such a
You're
great
good.
keeper cut of that Crescendo before.
I'm excited, man. The plants look really strong. They're all of them are. There really aren't any plants that are ahead or stronger or anything like that. They just look real good.
Which is
My
that for Rolly?
Ew.
Is that the solvent?
Fort Wendy. Yeah, I will
Yeah,
say that these are. I think I've tried all three of these already, and these are fairly clean, and good reason why, or a big reason why I traded as well, because I was interested, and solid terps. I feel like I should say the strains real quick though. This is Petoskey Pebbles from Fort Wendy. It's their 2 grams of 90 to 159 first wash. I think that he said that was his personal favorite. Then I have Pirates Painkiller from Tonical Terps. And then last but not least, we have Guava Icy from Magnum Opus. All very
What's that one smell like?
No.
It's pretty
gonna give you
good.
a fresh.
I had that one from them also. Super tasty.
And I love the cleanliness of water hash, man. The water is also doing something. It's taking out some contaminants. It's doing some things. There's some. I don't like anybody having a hierarchy of one over the other. There definitely can't be. There can't be a hierarchy one way or the other, right? If there's,
I mean, obviously hydrocarbons better, but we'll just go with that.
And then it's also what you personally.
well, the
can
objective
produce
analysis
to
points
buy.
towards the hydrocarbon, but like you can make a very nice refined product with the washing and stuff, but at the same time, like, you can't kid yourself that water can be really dirty. Like, we have water filters for a reason, and if you're not paying attention to that, like, you can be creating a gnarly
High iron well water.
Dude, and not just iron. I just got my water tested again, and we're not like over the legal limit or anything, but there was a measurable amount of arsenic in my water. So I'm getting
I would have guessed
arsenic
you were going to say lead
salt.
personally.
No, I'm not. Well, I'm not on city water.
Just to objectify, just so
lead
that,
pipes, and all that.
just so that somebody out there might be thinking, rosin hash is going to be cleaner because there's not a petroil solvent. Or a whatever solvent that you might think might be in it might be cleaner. Just have that understanding that it could have whatever's in that well water, or whatever might not have come out in those filters or something like that in there just the same. But we can't discredit solvents for their role, because like, I use alcohol as my solvent for making RSO, and we were just talking about RSO as being like the healer. A lot of people use it for healing properties. You get a decarboxylated product that way. You could eat either BHO or rosin and have that solvent, or the rosin wouldn't be decarboxylated though. You'd have to go through some heat, and a lot of hashers aren't applying heat to their products. So I feel like I keep like putting negatives on washing and hash. I'm trying not to. I'm still trying to like keep it as like there's still an artisan approach to that side of the industry and everything. But like, as far as extracting cannabinoids and like getting them into the human body and like not being bougie about overall cleanliness and just the way that it looks, because sometimes some of those fats and waxes are good for us. They might not taste the best, but it might be good for the high. It might be good for the effects. It might be good for the body. You know, looks aren't everything. Sometimes, always. Sometimes, always. Just for me. Yeah, I don't know.
At this
Really,
point.
the major factor here is that you can't remediate by washing, so it'll never win.
And that is true. Yeah, that's
So,
true.
Because unfortunately, the commercial market's got to move forward one way or the other, and
That's
it's
kind
gotta-
of the only thing driving the commercial market.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Hey, I will. I'll say. It's just an anecdotal thing. I thought it was pretty funny today. Someone told me, they sent their outdoor out to get washed, and the hasher, came back and was like, "Hey, man, like, everyone's little dirty secrets come out when I wash their material. It's bugs and mold and whatever it is that seeds, they all pop up to the top of the water. You know what I mean?
Flows.
So you're kind of remediating in some way, shape, or form, right? There's a little bit of remediation in there.
there's some
Water
you're gonna get-
remediation.
the bugs and stuff are going to come out of it.
You could maybe put. So what if you did hydrogen peroxide in your water? Would you be washing? Could you is that a thing? Are washers putting?
Doesn't it
hydrogen
affect
peroxide
terps
in them?
though?
I don't know, but people wash their weed with hydrogen peroxide. Wouldn't you just be killing two birds with one stone? Just tumble it, don't
I mean, I'm
Rumble
not saying
and
that's
tumble
necessarily a good thing either, though.
I'm not a fan of the hydrogen peroxide. I don't. So my whole thing is I just want to. I don't want anything on my smoke. I don't spray in veg. I don't do any sprays.
I'm a lot more okay with the idea of washing a plant than agitating a plant with chemicals.
Just come up.
stuff.
Yeah. And it's weird because that's my thing is I just want to clean smoke. And that's where I just go dry sift, honestly, because it's a mechanical extraction. It's solvent free, but it's also not removing any other terpenes through a washing method. There are contaminants. You would say there's dust or whatever might be in there, but if I went down to a full melt, I could probably refine out some of that dust. People have dry sift methods of static cleaning and tech that removes dust and stuff. There's some pretty cool mechanical methods of isolating the trichomes without using water or solvents. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of goes back to that original 5-year-old argument, right? With the steps. Dry sift kind of wins there as far as steps from A to B.
true solventless, man.
Yeah,
True
exactly.
solventless. Yeah, because you consider water
Just the
as
heads,
the ultimate
man.
solvent, right?
Just the tips, Red.
It's
Just the
an
tips.
oxidizer, dude. Look at the stuff down in the ocean, man. The stuff comes out and woof, goes right to rust. It's just
Now there is a negative, right, Red? You're a big full plant medicine type guy, right? And your dry sift is going to be a selected portion of your heads usually, and not a
Yeah.
full spectrum type of a product.
Yeah, mine are a full spectrum.
Yeah, a little bit different, but yeah, like your normal connoisseur dry hash is going to be like a certain full melt type.
It will be too. Frigoli tried to use some of Rascal Farmer's Temple Ball hash. Now his is, I believe he uses a wash. I think his is wash, but he takes his down full melt, and he said that he couldn't get it lit like an incense on the nail because it just melted, and that's what
Dude.
happened with full melt.
That's pretty good.
I might publish the video as like a blooper reel, because I straight up for like day 9 or day 10, that's what I was gonna do. I got the hash dome from Red and Becca. I come home and I'm like, all right, got this freaking almost year and a half old, I guess like 15-16 month old Temple Ball that my buddy Rascal grew, who's like been growing for almost 40 years. Like I've been holding on to this myself for a few months, like trying to find the right device. I'm like, man, a hash dome would be sweet for this thing. Pick a little piece off, roll it up, pop it right on there, just like they're showing me. I'm holding it sideways to get the lighter going, and I get it, and I'm like, all right, okay, it's not doing the incense thing, it just dripped. It's dripping. It's freaking melting, and it just like dripped all down the nail end of the thing. And I'm like, oh, this is straight
Destroyed
up
that nice
full melt hash, dude.
walnut
I'm like,
base.
That's just
Yeah.
resin.
yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So I, just topping bowls with it and stuff now, and like doing the damn thing that way. But yeah, I got the dry sift to work. It worked definitely much better on the second try. It's nice to be able to use a piece of parchment and kind of press it together, kind of get a like pancake going. But really, like until you really get that finger heat and the grease or whatever on your fingers, like squeezing that thing, I got a nice solid like maybe 0.1 gram ball. A couple times I put it on there, lit it, put the dome on. It goes for a while. It's nice. It's a fun little device. Something totally new for me,
The dome is sweet. It's a fun way to smoke. Especially
I feel like I
socially.
need a bigger one though. I feel like I need like a
cool when Red starts passing the dome around. I really enjoy that.
So he busts out
was cool
Rascal
that you
Farmer
did that.
Hash the other day. He busts out Rascal Farmer Hash, and I'm going, oh shit, Fragoli's going to showcase the hash dome. And I'm like, popcorn, dude, I'm ready to go. And he busts out a bong, and I'm like,
What the
oh,
fuck, man?
what the fuck? And I was like, oh, well, whatever. Maybe he's gonna
Maybe
he's gonna do it again tomorrow. And then I was also thinking, well, so we were like trying to figure out, does he like record them all in one day? You know what I mean? Like, does he do like sits down in one day and like does them all? And then he ended up doing it the other day, and he told the whole story, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because the fucking shit just didn't work, and like just melts because it's that good full melt. Shout out to Rascal Farmer. Fragoli, thank you very much for showcasing us not once but twice on your channel, dude. Thank you very much, man. As a matter of fact, we would like to showcase you and smoke one of your Mr. Clean
We've been saving them. We
doobies
keep
right here.
forgetting.
Well, we were going to smoke them last week, but Becca was sleeping or tired. She works a lot, so she was doing her thing, and so I didn't want to smoke one without her. So we were going to smoke one of these. This is a Fragoli one. So shout out to you, and also shout out to Rascal Farmer. He's been putting up a lot of informational content, guys. If you're a hasher and you like washing and stuff, he's setting himself up a nice little hash room. He's been talking about Bunkner funnel tech and all kinds
If
of
you
stuff.
say that word one more time, I'm going to have to ring the bell. We'll have met some kind of quotient, that we gotta,
So check it out, man. I was
We
actually
at least got to make sure he looks up how to
I was
say it.
thinking
So he
about
says
this
the
dude
same way
today,
every
man.
time.
We had this dude that would come in, old Mr. Buckner, man. He'd come in and howl at the moon in the restaurant, right? And you'd be sitting there waiting on the guest. He'd come in, howl. We go, oh, Mr. Buckner's here. We knew exactly who was here. And then as soon as I got that Buckner funnel, that's all the only dude I could think of. Still around. He's a good dude. Mr.
I want to
Buckner.
give a shout out
Cheers, brother. Awesome.
to Fragoli, because he did swerve us on that hash, and then he turned around and used it, and I'm like, he's using dry sift, what? And then he's like, I got this fucking parchment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going, you fucking did it, dude. I have had so much dry sift, and I'm like, that is what I need to do with it, because I've been like a bowl topper with it, man, and I would love to. I'll be honest with you, when I go through like Hobby Lobby and all these other goofy places, I'm looking for glass pieces, and I'm like, if you cut the bottom of that thing off there and you just got a cork or a cool marble, you could fucking totally rig that up, put a nail through this, MacGyver some shit together to have a cool hash.
I'm gonna see if I can do a rolling paper tech. See if
You don't think it'll stick to that?
I don't know. We're gonna experiment and
We'll
find
find out live on
Well,
there.
while he does that, do you want me to play this? I found the video. Will you just play it here? The blooper reel, if you will.
Yeah, go ahead, bring it.
Clean is nice and fruity. Got a little fruity.
If you got a lot of dry sift skill, just put it in your bowl and smoke it, man.
You know what? I definitely fucking have a lot of dry sift.
That does no good for hash dome.
Let me see if I got the jar here.
It's 3 minutes, so enjoy.
In your pipe?
Can you guys hear it?
No.
Negative Ghost Rider.
How do I get the audio to?
Well, it's not even moving yet.
No, it's
Saw his lips.
freeze frame.
Yeah.
Freeze frame. Freeze frame.
I don't like that.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah,
No
no,
audio?
no audio.
Negative.
Not really sure how to fix that.
I really like this joint. It tastes just like the dab. The dry hit.
Something in the
Yeah.
sharing settings for Goalie.
I'll check it out. Well, thank you, by the way. I'm gonna try to mess with this.
There'll be something like share audio. What should be an option when you're sharing screen?
Okay, let me try this again. Window. Stop screen. I just see stop.
Nobody's
sharing.
gonna make any boomer jokes at this point. Nobody is gonna. But if this was Skillbo doing this, there would be just a litany of fucking jokes and cracks. Here we
I've
go.
never heard audio before on this. I guess I don't see anything. It's in the settings or it's in the.
I don't know. We're stuck on you
Does
singing.
that look
Fa
like
La
a
La La.
cat laying down? Does that look like a silhouette of a cat?
Is there like a drop down box in the middle of your screen, like a little down arrow that you can click on? It says share audio where you're sharing your screen.
Oh yeah, it's
I got
working, dude. Look at that. That's from Dry City. Not bad.
Can we zoom in on Fergoli's open mouth?
Yes, I know. I gotta smoke.
I
some
want
hash.
to leave it open for you guys.
Oh wowzers! This is working actually.
All right, I'm gonna Google this real quick. I'll be back.
You'll be back after these messages.
This was a
Speaking
little
of
bit of Dry
hash,
City.
oops, I said the word hash time.
And a PayPal.
Is
It is hash time, guys. Here we go.
old fucking hash pipes that I've had for a long time, and I gotta
Element paper. Let's see. Oh yeah, look, peels off nicely. No paper stuck to it. Where is the thing? There you go. There we go. That was dry sift just a moment ago. I'm gonna fold it one more time. Oh, and I'm gonna finish it off just in my fingers. Oh, nice. There we go.
There you go.
Dude, Fergroli, thank you for reminding me that I can turn my dry sift into a little bit of hand press to operate the hash dome. Because
I got the strawberries and cream to do it with, Red.
all right. Yeah, that one should melt down nicely.
It's
So I see what you're talking about, Spartan. That only pops up when I share the entire window or entire screen or the entire tab, but not the window. So I guess if I share the
There's
That's
also a
red.
way to present just
Here you go, Red.
present videos for Fergoli as a separate option.
I might have to open this file and
Blow your mind with that. real quick.
video file. Wow, there is an option for video files. Gosh, I'm learning so
I
much
know.
today.
Bro, that joint's good.
Chat, there's only 3 little options if you press this button, and
But I've only clicked one before. It was Chrome tab.
Right on. A little bit of heat, a little bit of pressure makes diamonds.
a hash joint.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna put it right into that bowl I was sporting a minute ago. It's rolling into a snake, so it's kind of an issue at first. But we'll just keep folding it in on itself, and it'll get there.
So you guys,
Audio.
there's no audio still. Oh, come on.
There's no-
I hear
Yes,
it.
we
You
got
guys
it.
will hear it. Okay.
I hear it. Oh.
Yeah.
Just low volume.
I don't know if I can do anything about that. It's a red.
Wow, your microphone sucks.
Check this thing out.
Turn up your volume in YouTube.
Logo on the bottom. This is just a video file with a nail inside that you stick hash on. Light it. Let it fill the dome. Take off the mouthpiece and inhale. It's pretty wild. I'm pretty excited to try it, and I'm even more excited today because we have a 1/4 ounce Temple Ball from none other than the OG Michigander with 37 years of growing experience, growing outdoor, organic, under the sun, making hand-pressed ice water hash from Rascal Farmer. Check this out. I think this is the first time I've even opened this. He gifted this to me this summer. I've been saving it to basically get the proper device to smoke it on. And let's go ahead and crack this thing open for the first time.
I love his rap job.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
It's like candy.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
I'm very excited about
Have
this.
you ever taken a
Shout out
bite of
to
it?
Rascal Farmer I
Oh,
on
Oh,
want to Instagram. now. I think on YouTube as well. I have no idea how much to take.
It's a good idea.
I'm just gonna take a little.
Roll it in some cocoa.
Maybe it's a little too much. I have no idea. Wait,
like
It's a brand new
chocolate
experience
cocoa
for
or
me.
like cocoa media?
Red kind of gave me a rundown on how to
Please
use it.
just
Basically, you just
chocolate,
take a piece of hash that you can kind of hand roll, if you will, something that's not just gonna melt right off there.
This is literally the day,
Stick
the
on
morning
the grill.
after Red and Becca. I got this from you guys. I was
Super
filming
turkey
it.
dab
And I was like,
is
shit, this
like
didn't work. I gotta film a new one.
Some rascal farmer temple.
We were really like, oh, maybe he records them
understand
all
you
like
just
on
take
one
lightning.
day, and maybe he'll do this one later.
No, everything was one take, and
No,
most of
no,
them were the
it's-
morning of, like
gonna
super
fall
early
right
or
off
late
this
at night the night
probably.
before.
Oh my god, look at that. I don't know if this is gonna
I
work.
think
This
about
is-
smoking that over at Red and Becca's house with Mama Red, man. That was dope.
This is where I started
This is
panicking.
melting right off. Holy smokes. What are you supposed to do with full melt hash?
What are you supposed to do?
Rascal.
Try again.
your
Yeah,
hash
dude, you gotta post that one up,
This is
blooper
crazy.
style.
I think I'm just gonna have to dab this.
Which
It
I
just
did.
melt-
I
it
just
just
scooped.
melted
Yeah,
right
I just
off.
melted right up. I just
Oh,
scooped it
God.
up, dabbed it off my email. I'm not gonna
All
lie.
right, rascal
that's
hash
beautiful.
farmer, or rascal farmer rather, rascal hash maker. I guess maybe we'll try doing a dab of this. Well, good. We'll be back.
That's great, dude.
How's the dab?
Take two.
I mean, not as clean. I'd say that much, but it tasted good. You could. It was interesting. You know what I mean? It's just a total different kind of hash.
Do you think it had gotten that hashishin terpene to it by the time you had gotten it, or by the time you opened it?
I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, but if I,
I
had to
don't
guess,
know.
I'd say yes.
So
That
supposedly,
aged hash. Fucking,
supposedly there's supposed to be but they say it's a terpene. I don't know if you
Wow.
can see this thing. It's just in here, roasting away. Fill this up. So as the hash ages and it's sealed up and it like does its thing, I should actually cap it and just let it fill. And as the hash ages, it gets a new terpene profile called hashishin or something like that. And I don't know a whole lot about it.
It's an actual terpene, and it's not even found in the
Look at
plant.
that thing ember up, man.
I wish we could figure out which fucking video we seen that in, man. Like, damn. It was a long time ago, too.
And I don't know the profile, what it smells like, to give you any information for Girly. I wish I had more.
The
So-
guy to get a hold of for this is Jack.
Jack Greenstock.
Yeah,
Shout out to Jack
Greenstock
Greenstock.
knows all about the hashishin deal.
Yeah, it was in the temple balls. It was Frenchie found it when they were testing
Mhm.
8 temple balls, and it's a terpene that's never been found in the plant itself.
No, Rusty, not a hashishin. Hashishin. It's
Hashishin.
I'm butchering it, of course. I'm saying I don't know what I'm
I
saying.
think you're saying it right, actually.
Hashishin or something like that.
So I've got a whole safe full of stuff that's anywhere between 4 and 7 years old of processed extracts of mine. All the single source, not all of them, but a bunch of the single source stuff I've done over the years. And I have a feeling it's because I tend to like a similar terpene profile, so I tend to grow a lot of the same or at least similar terpene profiles. But what I noticed after about maybe a year and a half, 2 years or so of quote unquote aging in a safe that's not temperature controlled or humidity controlled or environment controlled whatsoever, it does all seem to go towards a very similar terpene profile, even more so than they are when they're live. I don't know if that's what he's talking about because I don't get the same profile out of his temple ball. So I mean, maybe the way that is processed, packaged, and then stored and aged has a lot to do with it. And then the fact that mine's processed entirely differently and then aged entirely differently,
Okay, but your lime skunk doesn't change that drastically over a 18-month period of time if it's stored properly.
if it's stored properly. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is this safe that I have this stuff in is in particular not stored properly. It might be semi-sealed to the environment in terms of oxidation, but it's
roughly
not in
70,
terms of
you would
heat.
say.
I think it's been over 90 for sure.
Who's to say for Growly that a temple is climate controlled and hermetically sealed?
I don't know. I don't know how he
Yeah.
stored them. You know what I mean?
I don't know if a temple, what sort of environment that is.
I just know that he did it with Frenchie's method. I can tell you that much. So you know, I'm sure he's, you know, following whatever guidelines Frenchie put out there, but I don't know. I don't know much about that terpene. So is it something we can test for here in Michigan? Do you guys know if like PSI Labs like is able to test
Depends
for it?
if PSI Labs is
I have
testing
no
for it.
idea.
Because if we could test for it, I got some extracts to go test.
I'm
you know?
not sure if terpene is necessarily the right word for whatever this compound or whatever is. It might be.
Something.
If it is, then
Yeah, I
maybe
never,
it's
I never
the
thought
right
that terpene was really the correct thing either, and that's always what I've heard it called was a terpene. But now we're finding that there's sulfur,
alcohols and esters and
and volatile sulfur compounds and volatile alcohol compounds and volatile other compounds of multiple sources. It's probably volatile fucking hydrogen compounds, carbon compounds. Who knows what else is volatilizing off of this plant?
All the compounds.
Are all the compounds volatile?
Thank you, Becca.
The hash is finally gone. That was a little scoop of hash, guys, and we just said here.
Bro.
Guys,
And got ripped.
According to calterpenes.com, hashaheen, the new terpene found in traditional hashish from Morocco, is actually beta myrcene oxidized by the sun, heat, and oxygen.
There you go.
Beta
that
mercy.
makes sense.
So yeah, it's just an oxidized terpene. That means that probably all of our terpenes oxidize into something new, you know. And
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
and that it's just the profile that these hash makers are creating. Turns out that they all oxidize into something similar. Or they've at least identified the one terpene that stands out, you know.
You know, and to circle back, let's say that you have some really, really old fucking herb and you're like, dude, this has no nose left discernible for me to want to make hash with it. That's a perfect time to turn that shit into your topical.
Or
Your
nighttime pills. Put
whatever it is. Yeah. That's
CBN, man.
is beta myrcene found in cannabis before it
yes.
ages? Is it found in fresh cannabis?
Yes.
Okay. I know myrcene. I didn't know myrcene, beta myrcene, and
Sometimes they have those prefixes or whatever they're called. I'm not a Latin or a science guy.
I know myrcene is like the most common terpene in cannabis, but I'm not sure beta myrcene is something.
I mean, it depends on the lab and stuff, but like a lot of the labs will list like for example, D-limonene. We might just call it limonene, but it's D-limonene. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah. I believe that's what fraternity they are part of.
Well, that's what I'm
Delta
wondering because the
myrcene?
fraternity of alpha pinene and beta pinene, right?
Yeah. I'm
they're-
pretty sure they're different
alpha
fraternities. Yeah.
limonene.
definitely don't want to be part of beta pinene.
Like, are there delta pinenes and theta
The
delta?
deep sleep ones, the thetas, right?
CBS.
I'm
Which one is? How do you say THC in your Greek alphabet?
I personally identify as kappa terpinolene.
I identify as Captain Crunch.
Oh.
Captain Crunch. I love lamb.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
I like turtles.
I got weed that tastes like hash when it gets older. I would describe all weed as weed that tastes like hash when it gets older.
Yeah, it's kind of
So
There's some
okay,
right?
took out some digging, but beta myrcene is the myrcene that's found in cannabis, right? Yes.
Yeah. It's just,
It is
is
the
it a
beta-
prefix? Is that what it's called?
It's just beta to alpha. I don't know where alpha myrcene is found,
Precursor.
but beta myrcene is the one that's found in cannabis.
So that's all this hashishin is old fashioned
Oxidized.
oxidized beta myrcene. Oxidized.
Yeah.
The key word here is oxidized.
Which just
Where
means
would you
aged.
find oxygen, anyways? You know,
So it would
in
have
a temple, Red. In a temple.
Totally.
Okay, so now I'm perplexed because inside this temple, they're supposed to be protected from oxygen.
Right.
How's it getting oxidized? Is it
What do you mean? Did you put it in a Ziploc bag?
No, the skin.
No,
is
the
ash. It's
the whole idea of a temple ball is that it seals itself so that
Yeah,
everything
it's
inside
Oh,
is
it's kind of it that's
The
changing.
the oxidation is on the outside.
on the outside, but the inside is what's breaking it open. Is where
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Red. Like I get what you're saying, and
It looks
but
different.
maybe it's more oxidized than they think it is. You know, I guess.
more oxidized. How's it oxidized?
It's probably
Is it
transferring some stuff from the surface into the
surface
inside.
Well, let's be honest. The oxygen molecules are probably penetrating that outside barrier. That's probably very porous. You know, just full of trichomes that are much bigger than oxygen
I
molecules.
think
are
they're all
for sure
glued
gonna-
together into that sheen because when you break those open, they're different colored. Like
For
you
sure,
know,
but you're
I
telling
think
me that
this
it might not oxidize as fast. But if you're telling me that oxygen isn't breaking the barrier of that sheen, I don't think that's probably true.
How
if
can
we
you
found-
be sure?
So there's probably
I
some
cannot.
sort of an
That's
absorb-
why I vac seal my shit.
if we found ancient
Trichomes,
Egyptian
you can
hash
see-
and we broke it open right now, I'm sure that it would be all the way oxidized all the way through because it's like 5,000
all the way
years old.
completely.
Right. So it's a way of slowly aging it. It's like beef, right? Aged beef. It gets nasty on the outside. You cut it open
Think
on the
cheese.
inside, and they do it with beef too. I've never had it, but I just know they do it.
Yeah,
pretty
dry
gross.
aged beef is the big one.
Yeah.
And so let's think about this, man. Maybe this process takes a really long time, like years. You know,
I'm pretty sure you can get oxygen in a short amount of time.
There we go,
into
Spartan.
the center, like all the way, like a complete. I'm like a rather large temple.
So here's-
ball.
Eventually.
That
Go ahead,
looks like
Spartan.
a-
Like, so how long is this process?
Here's what they're talking about.
to absorb.
Is that
all
dark
of
chocolate
this
there?
stuff. It doesn't just absorb into it though. It then has to oxidize. It then has to go the actual process of oxidizing.
Well, what's the
that's gonna
article
take
say?
Time also. There's
It's thanks to degradation of a terpene common to the cannabis plant. The resin extracts oxidize to produce high amounts of a rare monoterpene, and then they get into the actual
Say it.
dimethyl
5-5.
dimethyl vinyl
We're with you.
Bicyclo.
bicyclohexane. The researchers of the study coined it the catchier name, hashishine, for their newly discovered terpene. So they're saying beta myrcene in nature. So beta myrcene in specific is rearranged.
Whoa. Fit it. Say that word, that first word on that second line. Are you telling me all terpenes are hydrocarbons?
Unless it does not stop what that says. It just says that beta
does.
myrcene is a hydrocarbon, is what this says.
Yeah, a natural hydrocarbon. Wait, we're smoking hydrocarbons even though if it's solventless?
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's why terpenes are used as cleaners and things like that
Well,
too.
no, that's what I was going to
Correct.
say. So back to my original conversation, and that's what I had forgot. Remember when I forgot something? That's what it was. When in this hierarchy-ness of like, you can't treat everything as a hierarchy because you have to understand that if you're searching for citrus and if you like lime and lemons and limes are solvents. And in that lime, like you can't say that I don't want lime. Well, I guess you could say you don't want limonene, but like if you were to extract limonene as solventless, you're literally extracting a solvent into solvent. Like it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Is it an acid?
Limonene is a solvent, and you're extracting the solventless into the solventless. You know,
It's splitting hairs, but I just like to, it's like saying water is a solvent. Well, like technically,
It's like the
it
word
is,
hydrocarbon for you is like the word terpenes. It's like Pee Wee's Playhouse. It's the word of the day. We always get excited when we hear the hydrocarbon. I got you.
Yeah, it didn't get me. I saw it, I popped up, and the same sentence
popped
is
for it.
terpene, and I'm like, okay, well, words that excite.
I want to get back. I want to get back to this hashishin though. What was the rest of that?
That was a cool article, Spartan.
That was a good article.
It didn't really go into too much more depth other than saying it was
okay. So
found
just
to
wanna
be
get trivia
oxidized myrcene.
So it is. So it's a degradation of myrcene, and it said that it changes the structure of myrcene though.
It said it was mostly in the process of making the hash with the light and
Oxidization.
and oxygen being exposed to it in the process of making the hash. Starts the degradation process. So I'm assuming they're saying that it starts the process to degrade, it starts oxidizing, and you trap that oxygen in it when you seal it up. And that's what, it probably uses up what oxygen's there, and then it's over. And it was talking later on that, of course, then they would pick cultivars with higher myrcene, and they would get better results to getting higher of the hashishin or whatever
That would make sense. Yeah.
in the final product too.
Well, now I want to just extract a myrcene heavy plant and maybe pull out the terps and just let it sit out in a jar, like a few milliliters of it or something, sit out for a jar for a while.
Was Myrcene mangoes? Is that what that flavor was?
Sort of. Myrcene's in mangoes.
Okay.
Myrcene's in mangoes, and
So
and
like
you
that
find
sour
out
fruit
It's
flavor.
very common in a lot of
For the
lots.
wheel. Yeah.
there's a huge correlation between fruit flavored cannabis, purple cannabis, a lot of like the musky
Dude,
stuff.
they'll
A
put
lot
you
of
to
that stuff
fucking
is
bed,
there's
man.
a high. Your granddaddy's really high myrcene.
I grew I was called fuck, what the fuck was it called? Afghani mango, and it was like one of the shortest, squattest little bonsai plants that I ever grew, and it didn't want to grow at all, and it grew some really fucking great buds. Man, that shit was knockout, just knockout. Could not smoke that before working. That made for a rough fucking start to the day. It's like starting off with the Spartan punch of the RSO. Huzzah, let's get it, baby.
My RSO kicked in just a little while ago.
Yeah, you've been pretty quiet on this one, Spartan. It's nice to get you in on here now that you're sobering up a little bit.
Yeah, hit me pretty good right around hash time.
Seagans, did you see what happened on that play? Did a trainer or something just get pushed?
Yeah, I was super distracted from the show there for a second. Yeah,
What
a trainer
the
got
hell is
pushed
that?
and a guy got ejected.
What happened exactly?
Some athletic trainer got pushed and a Packers player got ejected from the game.
Yeah, there was a Lions
Oh,
trainer
shit.
on the field, and a Packers player comes up behind him and pushes him. And then he kind of like turns around, is looking at him, and then another Packers guy like shouldered him, and I was just like, was that a doctor guy, like one of the guys that saved someone's life, like a week ago? What the?
Yeah, like what a dick.
Yeah,
Yep, he got ejected right away. At least that happened, I guess.
looks like we're gonna
Anywho,
score again.
any hoozle?
Sports ball.
Any hoozle.
Did you guys play any sports in like grade school growing up? I feel like everyone played something.
played
you know what I
football.
mean?
What's grade
like-
school? Do you have any
Parkour.
modern speech?
I would let's say 8th grade. Let's say pre-high school. Like, what sports did you guys do pre-high school?
Middle school.
Pre-high
Volleyball. Baseball.
Bit of baseball and football.
Baseball and basketball.
I started playing hockey.
Oh
Before.
yeah, and basketball. I forgot.
I can't hit a baseball or a golf ball
Really? I would think
Yeah.
that you would be pretty good on the links, man.
at all. I can't hit a baseball or a golf ball. I can play basketball decent, and I
Okay,
can
so
play. I was a
what I'm
receiver and a safety in football.
I'm hearing that we need to have an MBGS T-ball event this summer.
Kickball.
yeah.
Kickball.
Brisket, what do you think? Kickball?
I'm down for
yeah.
either.
I'm down.
There you go.
Down to play kickball.
I played hockey, or not hockey. I played,
Kickball's a game that all of us geezers can play,
played-
dude.
Exactly,
played
man.
soccer for like
Play
6
with exercise balls.
6 weeks.
The big ones. Kapow.
I played hockey for I don't know, dude, 10 years, something like that. And I was in high school. I was actually on the swim and dive. I was a diver in high school. I'm part of the dive team in high
nice.
school.
Dive her down, baby.
And I
So
was
you got
on
your speedo?
squad. Oh yeah.
You just
No,
scored out in the garden today.
No, that
He's
fucking-
probably wearing it right now.
There's I recall like finding the
Jordan
that
wears the
bag
NC
with,
shorts
like,
underneath all the
it
time.
had a swimmer's hat in it, and the swimmer's
Always
hat
ready.
like melted to like everything in the bag.
Shaved to
Oh,
perfection.
jeez.
Waxed even.
So it was terrible.
Is your body hair waxed right now, Red?
Except for
Are
the
you
butt
ready
cheek,
to
man.
swim?
The butt
There's a
cheek.
lot of
Yeah, it
drag.
never grew back.
Depository
drag.
water.
He was 13 the first time he waxed his body. It just never came back.
His butt cheeks are still glued together from earlier.
That depository's got him kind of glued up, man. But it makes him more aerodynamic in the long run. So I think it works.
Dude, I had a faster freestyle time than most of the swim team, and the dive
Mostly
swim
go.
coach always wanted me to swim more, and was a diver, and I'm like, I'm not a swimmer, dude. I don't want to swim all these
It's like a lot of
events.
work.
Swim, Red. Swim.
I never really said that. I never really
You
had
know,
that
Red, speaking of swimming, we got to swim away from this episode and make sure you guys come back through tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the late session. We'll get back together and do it again. I'll toss it back over to Sequence. What were you celebrating, my friend?
Dude, Jamal Williams just broke Barry Sanders' single season touchdown record.
Booyah.
I believe it's 17 touchdowns he ran in this year.
Quick,
there.
someone call the lifeguard. Red is drowning. We're swimming too
Come
fast.
back, Red.
It's too deep.
Come back over
The undercurrent.
Tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come back, Red.
Almost knocked over the weed.
I was trying to hold him down.
Baby, come back.
Yeah,
Baby,
I-
come
I thought
back.
the show was gonna end when I went down.
Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it very much. We'll be back tomorrow at around this time exactly.
The late sesh.
24
Late
hours.
Hashtag.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everybody.